30-minute reviews, Beware of Spoilers, and Exploring Hyperspace Lanes are all available ad-free. But if you want to support the show, you can go to bewareofspoilers.com and click the support button that's available on the Spotify website. Thank you. Good evening, well, afternoon, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam, and I've now seen Anatomy of a Fall, which means there's only 2 movies that have been nominated for Best Picture this year that I've not seen yet. And in this case, that would be Maestro, which is the movie with, what's his name? The movie with, I'm forgetting his name, Bradley Cooper, and there's another big one. What was it? The other big movie that I haven't seen yet. Oh, Zone of Interest. Which I'll be seeing next week, so we'll be talking about that next week. For those of you who are looking for Drive-Away Dolls this weekend, we're going to do that next weekend, and let me explain why. This weekend, tomorrow, we're going to be doing Dune Part 2. And Dune Part 2 is next weekend's only release. Or only major release. So, in an effort to make it that way, there's no dearth of content that comes from Dune Part 2, not being on the calendar for next week, but we've already done it. We are still going to have the episode that Peter and I are going to do, like we did last time Dune came out, where we talk about how great the movie is and all of that. We still are going to do that, but we are going to also have, we are also going to have a moment where we, what's what we're looking for here? We're gonna do, there's something, I forgot what the fuck it was. How did I phrase it? We're gonna put Drive-Away Dolls next week, that's what it is. So, with Drive-Away Dolls next week, we're gonna do Dune tomorrow, we're gonna do this today, and then also next week we're going to do, Zone of Interest, for those of you who want to continue on our, let's go through all the Best Picture nominees. And one other thing before we get into Anatomy of a Fall, it's weird that Robot Dreams is a summer release. You would think you'd want to put it out before the Oscars. I think I'm going to try and swing seeing it. It's going to be close. It'll depend on if I can afford it. Or if I want to move the budget around, is what I mean. We have the Cool Things budget, we refer to it as on this show. Do I want to move money in the Cool Things budget from our usual, film festival stuff in the spring and fall, and the summer, and move it to, early March, which, questionable if we're going to do that or not. So, we'll see. We will see how we do that. But for today, we're here to talk about, Anatomy of a Fall, which is a French movie that got nominated for Best Picture. It was not nominated for Best Foreign Language Film, or Best Foreign Film, or International Features, how it is now, because the director, disparaged our, the Prime Minister of France. So they put up a different movie. Questionable choice on their part, because I feel like this movie would have made it a closer race for best international. Because right now I think it's a solid win for I think this is a locked up race for Zone of Interest. I don't think it's going to be close. I think that as of right now, we have a winner, and that comes from I've always said it when we talk about this. If a movie gets nominated for Best International Feature and Best Picture, it's going to win Best International Feature that year. That's kind of just how this works. And that's because once we get to a movie, being as widely recognized by the Academy that it is getting over the subtitle gap and over the fact that it is an international movie, once we get over that, if you have a movie that's gotten past that point, that movie is going to win best international feature. Which is why having 2 movies in that category would have made for an interesting race. Because Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall were both nominated for Best Picture. And had both been in, that could have led to at least some competition before I think Zone of Interest ends up winning it. But this movie's fantastic for anyone who hasn't seen it yet and has the opportunity to before the Academy Awards. I'd recommend seeing it. And I don't want to say before the Academy Awards for like a hipster reason or anything like that. It's like you want to see it before, that way when you fill out your Oscar ballot, I give my picks for what's going to win. But if you want to fill out your own and see what you think is going to win, I recommend you see all the movies if you have time and the means in AMC A-List. So the movie is about a woman who her husband ends up dead, and it's unclear how the husband died. There is ambiguity regarding whether or not there was whether or not the husband was murdered, or if he was just, or if he committed suicide, which leads to the fundamental debate of the movie: did Sandra, the woman who was the wife, did she kill her husband, or did her husband kill himself? And that is where the movie entirely lives. It's in that fundamental question, because the movie doesn't give you an answer. There is no, let me rephrase. You get an answer. I think you get an answer toward the end of the movie. I'm going to be completely honest. I think the movie does answer the question, and I think it's not ambiguous by the time you get to around the third act, where the idea that she... I think that the issue is she didn't kill her husband. I think her husband killed himself. I think the movie's pretty clear about that. I think playing it the way they did in marketing is smart because it generates interest, but at the same time, I don't think it's accurate to what the movie's trying to portray. I think at the end of the day, what the issue is because we don't know, it's playing that to itself. So when you get this reveal at the end, it's like, oh shit, so that's how it happened. And I think that works very well for the movie. Like the fight that happens between her and her husband, that is kind of the big third act reveal of what went down. I'm watching this and I'm like, this does not make her look bad, I don't think. I mean, aside from assaulting her husband, like, the fight leading up to that, all it does is illustrate that her husband has these intense feelings of inadequacy and this intense fear of failure that leads him to paralysis, and that made him, like, and she says it in the rant, she's like, and now you're 40 and now you have nothing to show for it, and it's like, wow, that is concise, and it explains exactly why he would have gone and killed himself. You get to that point in the movie and you're like, okay, it is pretty clear what went on here. It's not I don't think it's ambiguous. Which is interesting. And I think that the performances are fantastic. Sandra Huller, I think is her name, or Huller, or I don't know how you pronounce it because it's got that thing over the U, the two little dots. So it could be something more than that. Or it could be pronounced, I think it's just Huller. But she's fantastic. And I think that one of the things in the movie that works really well is Justine Triet knew what she was working with in terms of what caliber of an actress she had in Sandra Huller. So you end up with these long takes where it's just her acting against no one. It's just her in the shot, just delivering a monologue or just letting the reaction sit on her while things are happening around her, and it works. It works the entire time it's happening, and it's just fantastic what it does, because you're sitting there, you're like, oh, holy shit, like, you're getting to live in the emotions vicariously through this woman who's going through not just losing her husband to suicide, but losing her husband to suicide and then being accused of killing him. Like, it's a lot for someone to go through, and she sells it. She sells it just so well. And I see why she was nominated for Best Actress. The cinematography is great, and I really like the frenetic way that they kind of edit not edit, but like the camera motion while they're doing it. It has kind of like I don't want to say like a documentary style, just because it's moving, but it is a little of that where it's like, okay, the camera's moving a lot as it's, as you're going around places, almost like it's being held by someone and not on a dolly or on a tripod, which creates some interesting, it adds to the tension of what's going on in an interesting way. Plus, the way it's shot, Jesus Christ, the Yankees are already winning. Well, it's the 8th inning, so who cares? And it's preseason. But everything about it just kind of clicks and works to make this movie something truly special. And the emotions land. And the kid who plays the son is also fantastic. And the guy who played the lawyer, who looks like, I'm going to say this, and I feel like I'm going to get made fun of for this, but he looks kind of like if you told me that he was Cillian Murphy's brother, I'd be like, all right, I buy that. Or like a cousin of Cillian Murphy, I would buy that. But he's really good too. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to, this is a movie that's definitely worth seeing. If you are able to this weekend go and see this movie, go and see it, either this weekend or next weekend before the Oscar nominations. We find out who wins. But like I said, I don't think this movie is going to win Best Picture. I think that the Best Picture race is essentially locked right now. I think that the Best Picture race is solidly Oppenheimer's going to win. But this movie jumped in the rankings to where I think it's 2 or 3 in terms of if I were to rank this year's Best Picture nominees, I would say it's definitely in the top half, if not top 3. Because I would say I enjoyed this movie. Well, enjoyed is the wrong word. It feels weird to say that about a movie like Killers of the Flower Moon. I think that I did not like this movie as much as Killers of the Flower Moon, but I think it does. It certainly, I enjoyed it more than Barbie. I enjoyed it more than, American Fiction. No, it's definitely top 5. It's in the top half. Let's just put it like that. It's definitely in the top half of the movies that are that are in contention for Best Picture this year. And good for them. This is a fantastic movie. And the dog is great too. The dog's really fun. Not fun. That's the wrong word. The dog is. He does great acting work for a dog, which is something that Kelsey Grammer would disagree with, but it is what it is. Go check out Anatomy of a Fall. It'll probably be coming to streaming soon, I would assume. We're getting close to that time where it's how long are we going to wait till we put this out on PVOD? So it may be there already, I don't know. It's a Neon release, so anytime you have Neon, it's a little bit weird in terms of the distribution strategy. I don't know exactly where this movie ends up, but we'll see. So what else have we got? So like I said, tomorrow evening, late, we will have Dune Part 2, as I go and see that at the Dune fan event. And let's just say that movie, very well could be, I have a feeling that I will be leaving that movie the same way I left Everything Everywhere All at Once. Where it's this is the movie to beat by a country mile. And it's going to be a rough thing for anyone to be able to upset that. And that'll be tomorrow evening. Then after that, we have... we are going to continue with... what's it called? We're going to do Avatar tomorrow morning. If you want my thoughts after the first episode, if you go to mwpnews.com, there is an article up where I talk about my thoughts after the first episode of Avatar that I watched, and how I think it holds, and how I think it's compares to the original. The one I do tomorrow will be a little bit less. I don't want to say mean, but I think it should be a little bit more fair, but probably not by too much. Which will be based on the first 3 episodes, not the first 4. But we will see how that plays out for us. I feel like there was something else we definitely had that we wanted to address. What the fuck was it? Bad Batch is going on every week, and then there's another TV show. We're gonna start with what was that show called? Shogun. We're gonna start Shogun too, and I feel like there was another show too, but whatever. It is what it is. It'll show up on the feed, and we'll talk about it when it happens. But we'll wrap up there for today. And until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.